Imagine making your dream game without writing a single line of code, just by telling an AI what you want. Sounds like sci-fi, right? Well, it's real. And the folks at Rosebud AI are making it happen. Whether you're a game dev, an artist, or just someone with a wild idea in their heads, Rosebud gives you the power to build entire games just by using words. It's fast, it's smart, and honestly, it's kind of mind-blowing. Today, I'm gonna be going up against this AI to see who can make a better game. First things first, we have to decide on a theme for this game jam to begin. We will of course be using AI to do so. And our dear friend ChatGPT says we're making a game based on the theme Reversed Tower Defense. I guess I just can't get away from that. I was just meant to create Plants vs Zombies remix forever, I guess. So I hope you all are ready, cause it's time for the most epic game off! First up is the AI, and what better prompt to start off with than make me a game. This feels like spinning the wheel and seeing what you're getting. Maybe a platformer or something simple. I remember Polymor's having a bouncing apple on his screen. However, I'm not sure how complex this can be, and honestly, I've never tried this before, so it's gonna be fun. Why is it taking so long to actually load up? Oh god, it's gonna take so long. Oh, it crafted a whole 3D world open world game? What? Yeah, I guess that's what happens if you give it a prompt as plain as that one. Trying again, I searched for a simple 2D game, and oh god, it's taking ages again. I guess the entire Pokemon series. But no, it's just a simple platformer. But you have to see how quick that was. If I were to be doing this by myself, it will take me at least twice as long. That's one of the main reasons this AI is so great for creating prototypes of your ideas or just quickly testing ones out. Okay, let's try that again, but this time we're gonna ask it for a 2D scene without nothing on it. A blank 2D scene. Okay, now we can start making this game. The premise is simple. You are the person who spawns the waves in and tries to kill the player. I wanted to do something more creative, but not even AI had any other ideas except for that one. It just kept on spouting nonsense about the same idea in different styles and calling it a different outlook on a classic theme, like, ah yes, I see what you mean. Maybe instead of aliens fighting, it could be fungi going up against the forest. That's a creative outlook on this classic theme that you have never seen before. Wait, actually that's not a bad idea for the theming, but you get what I mean. Okay, enough blah blah blabbling about this main idea of the game. It's time to get coding. Well, I guess prompting is the more appropriate word for this situation. The first thing we need is like a path for all of our enemies to follow, like in any other tower defense game. And let's see that. It's generating, okay, let's try that again. It's generating, okay, guess I'll have to be more precise with my prompts. Make me a path that reaches from one side to the other side of the screens while also making a curve that places. Nice. Time to make our enemies. Well, in this case, you are the enemy, so I guess we're making your friends. I mean, that's the first, I know. For the start, I just needed a red ball enemy and the artwork. Oh, oops, it's set to 3D artworks, which is something this AI can do, I guess. That might be useful in the future. But for the time being, we can just switch that back, and yeah, I do guess that's a red circle enemy. Maybe just a normal red circle would be fine. There you go, that wasn't so hard, was it now? Not just that, but with only one prompt, the circle is moving along the path. Okay, the next thing I want is to have a sidebar where you can pick the circles and send them out to fight. That might be a bit more difficult knowing AI, but let's try something like, could you make a sidebar where the circles are and when you click on them it spawns them and it starts going on the path with a nice outline and it starts moving and stuff like that. Okay, I'm not going to doubt AI ever again, I guess. That was flawless and it even gave us a nice outline. The next most important thing is having more colors of circle. Now, I'm not sure if I have to make multiple sprites for each color of the circles, or if it could just use the original one but recolor it, so I did the most logical thing and asked an AI what it could do. And it worked, sorta. However, for now I decided to turn them all into red ones for a reason. But before getting to that reason, I think the next most important thing is our lives. Right. So I asked them to add lives and bazinga, there they are all in their glory. Same thing for the cash, and we need to make the money increase somehow. So I made money go up by 1 every second. Then I made the circles cost money, cause you know, economy, all that. I also stole the idea for having a gain amount that increases with the more circles you send out from balloon tower defense battles, which is a great game, you should definitely go and play it. Oh, and our game was basically done already. Well, not really, we still need more content. So let's turn top-down tower defense game into a 3D top-down tower defense game. Yup, let's turn this game from a 2D top-down defense game into a 3D one. To do that, I needed to actually write only one prompt and it did it all by itself. So yeah, now we have a 3D tower defense game, which is insane. The next thing I was dying to do was add some teaming to the game. I decided to go for the previously mentioned fungi team. That did, however, mean that we needed to do some research, so put on your smart hats and we're jumping on into Wikipedia articles about mind-controlling fungi. Well, I did at least. And believe me, it is not nearly as fun as it sounds. But I did find some cool shrooms we can use in our game. And just plugging their names into the AI leads to amazing results, due to it having access to a huge part of the internet, meaning that it knows a lot more than I do about mushrooms. It can generate the mushrooms by only having their names. I repeated this process a couple of times for each one of the mushrooms until I had 4 different mushroom types. Sure, they maybe don't look the best, but we're not judging the quality, we're judging the gameplay. Next up were the towers that would shoot down the fungi. And what a better tower than a tree. Yeah, actually in real life a lot of trees have a problem because of mushrooms, at least a big amount of them. A huge amount of the mushrooms acts as parasites that want to take over roots of the trees. That's my Wikipedia knowledge coming in. So I thought they would make for the perfect defense, shooting apples of course. Okay, now a bit more polishing with some grass and we're done. Let's see what we made here. Maybe not the best in the art department, but considering the quality of the gameplay, I think we did an amazing job. If you want to check out the game, there's a link in the description, as well as a link to Rosebud AI if you want to create your own game. Alright, I think it's time for old me to get developing. Now before anything, I did want to brainstorm some ideas, since making 2 of the same game doesn't sound like fun to me. And this is what I ended up coming with. You're a human who has to help the machines in this war against red circles. But unlike a normal tower defense game, you're not staring from the sky, but you're rather in the battle, meaning that every bullet can hurt you just as they can hurt the enemies. Yeah, that is a great idea. So I got into development. The movement script took me a cool 10 minutes to make, mostly due to the slow opening of all of my programs and forgetting where the save location is, which once again is something that doesn't happen with AI, but I digress. The next item on the menu is one I've struggled with for years: how to make an object move at a consistent speed over a pad. But in this moment, while staring this monster right down in his eyes, I remembered the one and only line of code I would need: vector3.normalize. What it does is it takes a look at any direction, for example 1, 2, and it defines it to a circle around a given object, which the AI did in 2 seconds. Okay, I get it, the AI is fast, get it over with already. Having done this, I planned on making the towers. I had 2 ideas in mind: a tower that shoots the projectiles out in like a hexagonic pattern, and one that just rapid fires them around in a circle. And then we had the 2 towers randomly spawn around the map. The hexagon shaped shoot out tower was pretty easy to develop. And soon we had a tower of destruction destructing the destruction called the red circles destruction. And once they would die, they would drop gold, which later became EXP for leveling up. This was a necessary addition because it made you have to move around more, which also puts you in danger of the bullets coming off the machines. The second type of tower was so fun to create. And you know how people say that if you're having fun just moving around in your game, even if there's no reason for it, and that like means that it's a good game? Well, I think we have a good game on our hands. But yeah, the second tower was a blast to develop. However, it was not a blast for the red circles since they got pissed off and killed a bunch. Okay, now the way you help the machines win the war is by pew-pewing at the enemies yourself, which I think this clip shows the best. Screen shake time! Screen shake really adds that nice effects of action, doesn't it now? Okay, remember the XP from before? Well, now we have the level up bar for leveling up and stuff, bro. The only real thing that happened at you leveling up is the speed of your fire increases, which is going to be necessary since the waves are gonna get bigger and faster and faster. Alright, now that the core concept is done, it's time for some art. Let's make our main character a little triangle, and let's also do something I didn't do in a while, adding a pixel perfect camera. We also make the enemies these simple red circles with holes in the middle and towers with these super futuristic machines, but my favorite part of all has to be the bullets. Look at them, too cute! Now we just have to make the towers randomly spawn, which takes us 3 decades because I'm done. Yeah, I can do it in a second, blah 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 blah. I made the level up bar look better and added some sweet particle effects since, if I remember correctly from my early days,
Milk drinking simulator is explosive, so I made an explosion effect using united particle system.
And then came time for post-processing, which just gave the game an even more retro look due to the effects of lens distortion and pixel perfect camera. Christ, I feel like I'm calling out the names of my magic moves. I also added this effect when the player gets hit. I think that's pretty much it, and it's epic too. I also made the enemies randomly spawn and move from one side to the other. I made the game even more fun because the player has to move around to collect all the XP, and that was the game basically done. Okay, now let's take a look at the two games and rate them side by side. However, I'm not sure that's the best idea. Whichever way you decide to go about game development, you'll always have your ups and downs. Rosebud is a great engine if you don't know where to start, while using Unity is definitely slower but gives you more accessibility and control over what you are doing. The game I made with Rosebud AI took me a total of 20 minutes to make, while the Unity one took me approximately 2 days. So in the end of the ends of the end of the end, I think it's up for you to decide which game engine you like more. Okay, that would be it for this video. I would once again like to thank Rosebud AI for sponsoring us. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.